Business 1, student fight nights. Business 2, drive-in cinema during the pandemic. Business 3, TED Talk style events in pubs throughout London. Lots of entrepreneurs have lots of different ideas. How do you decide which ideas you should focus on? Our next guest, Callum Campbell, has done all three. Here's his story of finding the next big idea. Callum, it's great to have you at Wandsworth with us today. Thanks for coming on Work This Way. Looking forward to hearing your story and your journey down from Scotland and why you've ended up in London. Callum, take us back. Where are you originally from and how did you end up in Wandsworth?
So I grew up outside of Glasgow, went to uni in Edinburgh, moved back to Glasgow in 2017, 2018. I was there for about 6-7 years. And then January 2025, I moved to Wandsworth.
Is there a real divide between Glasgow and Edinburgh? Are they polar opposites to cities?
I wouldn't say they're polar opposites, but there's a really good saying in Scotland that you would have more fun at a Glasgow funeral than you would at an Edinburgh wedding.
Is that right?
And I would say that's true. The people in Glasgow, they're hilarious. The patter's brilliant. Edinburgh is very touristy and studenty in the middle. You have to actually go slightly outside. You have to go to Leith and Portobello to actually find real natives to Edinburgh. But yeah, they're both great.
Callum, you moved down to London in February 2025. Why London? Why Wandsworth?
I'd been to London multiple times, visited, and every time I came away from London, I thought, why the hell am I not living here? There's such a massive buzz and energy compared to Glasgow that's in London. And that really attracted me. There's just so much going on. It's mainly as hippie as it sounds, the energy and the buzz of the place.
Was there a point at home where you were done? You were done with Scotland? Done with Glasgow?
It got to around November time. The weather was terrible in Glasgow. My girlfriend was living in Toronto. My close friends were either in Sydney or in London. And at that point, I thought, right, I need a change. And then I decided in November, December 2024 that I was going to move to London. And then I moved to London on January the 6th, 2025.
Wandsworth over Sydney. Old choice.
Yes, I know. Maybe I should have gone to Sydney. Yeah.
So Callum, let's roll back a little bit. You've always been entrepreneurial. Where did it all start for you?
I think it started maybe when I was around 18. I was promoting nightclubs in Edinburgh in first year. And then in second year, I decided I wanted to start my own club night.
Mm-hmm.
So I used a small bit of cash. I think it was about £700, and then linked together with a few friends. We then started something in January 2015. And yeah, that's kind of where it started. And yeah, that was the beginning of it.
What's this about Glasgow student fight nights? What was all that about?
So I started white collar boxing events in the UK in late 2018.
Right.
So in my final year at university around 2016, 2017, I signed up for a white collar boxing match in Edinburgh. I trained for about 10 weeks, then competed in the event. It was one of the hardest but most rewarding things I'd ever done. I thought it was brilliant. And when I graduated, I was looking for marketing jobs in Glasgow. I couldn't find anything that I was after, but I did realize that there was a gap in the market for a very similar event that I competed in Edinburgh, but in Glasgow.
Right.
So I then went and spoke to a venue, went and spoke to a boxing gym, said to the boxing gym, right, I'll give you 40 fighters, you train them up for 10 weeks, and then we'll host an event in this venue.
Brilliant. These are all students?
They're all students, yes.
Was it tasty?
It was tasty. It was my first event, so I was maybe slightly inexperienced in running it, but I think I've had about 10 Glasgow Fight Nights to date, and then overall maybe 40 odd in total across the UK. So yeah, after that first one, it's all been fairly
Glasgow
plain
Fight
sailing.
Night's tastier than London Fight Night.
I've not done a London fight night. I've done Glasgow, Edinburgh, Manchester, Birmingham, and Bristol.
Bristol must be fun.
Bristol's fun. Birmingham, they're quite loose down there. We've had members of the crowd fighting each other.
I love that.
Never mind just the competitors fighting each other. So
just for our listeners, can you just give us a bit of context for what is a white collar boxing night?
So the term white collar actually originated in New York in the 80s. It was a bunch of finance bros that wanted to fight each other, but they weren't professional or amateur boxers. So they had white collar jobs, but they wanted to fight each other. And that's where the term white collar fight night comes from.
Right.
And then that just kind of developed into anyone who wants to box, but they don't have any boxing experience beforehand. They just do a training camp and then compete in the ring afterwards.
Talk to us about the training program for white collar. What does it consist of? If I want to get involved, what am I signing up to?
So you're signing up to 10 weeks free training. We match people on their height, weight, and level of ability. So if you've got two people that are 6'1", 190 centimeters, we'll typically pair them together. But later on in the camp, one might be more sporty than the other.
Right.
And then we shift it around. It's very health and safety focused to make sure that no one gets seriously injured. Throughout the 10 weeks, you'll learn to box in the first couple of weeks. And then maybe around week 3, you'll start some light sparring. And then by weeks 5, 6, 7, 8, you're doing a little bit more heavy sparring, learning how to be in the ring, defend yourself, throw different shots, and then final preparation for the night.
And these events that you've got going on in the UK at the moment, are they frequent now? Is this something is this your full-time job now?
It is my full-time job. It's been my full-time job since 2018, I suppose. Right. I mean, I was working odd jobs at the weekend from 2017, 2018. I was a rickshaw driver in Edinburgh. That was my student job, and I continued to do that for like 1 or 2 years after uni. And then
you learn how to sell, you know how to tell a story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think it helps that I've done a lot of like customer service jobs. I used to work in Slater's, the suit shop, or Harvey Nichols. And then I did, like street selling with rickshawing, because you need to chat to people. It's like, you need to give enthusiasm. That's what sales is all about. Yeah. So, yeah.
So you've been running fight nights since 2018. Give us the fighters have given up 10 weeks of their life to transform themselves into fighting machines. They're paired against equivalent matched fighters. When they get to that night, what does that night look like? What does a fight night look like? A typical fight night
for me or for the fighters?
Yeah, for the punter, the fighter, you.
For me, because I've done them so frequently and often now, I don't typically have the same nerves that I used to have. When I started off, I used to get so nervous, not knowing. In fact, it just reminds me. I remember before my first Manchester fight night, a few weeks beforehand, I would wake up in the middle of the night having a nightmare that I didn't book the ring for the event. So I'd wake up like, oh my God, there's no ring here.
Yeah.
I would get really nervous, but I've done so many of them now that it's,
Have you had disasters?
On the very first night, we didn't split the VIP from the normal tickets. And then it was a total rammy. People were taking the bottles of vodka off the VIP tables. Yeah. That was the lesson I learned on the first day. But aside from that, it's been fairly smooth.
And for the punter, so someone that's paid how much is a typical ticket in a town like Manchester?
About £30, and then if they want VIP tickets and they get a table next to the ring, it's about £45.
It's very affordable.
Yeah, I mean, they are students. You will maybe have one or two saying it's a little bit expensive, but that's 1% of people.
But this is again. It's fair comment. It's a student fight night, right?
Yeah.
Okay, right. And then I guess for the fighters themselves, how many people attend? What does the night look like? Is it Is it 500 people, 1,000 people? What's the biggest event you've ever held?
The biggest one I've held is 2,000 people at Murrayfield Ice Rink.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was a sea race operation. We had to lay the floor with tiles because it was on an ice rink and they hadn't melted the ice by this point. So that was working from 5 a.m. until 3 a.m. the following day. That was a big day.
That must have been incredible.
It was incredible.
Did it open your eyes to bigger venues? Did you think I could do this?
It did,
much bigger venues.
Yeah, it made me think if I can do 2,000 tickets in Edinburgh, I can do 2,000 tickets in Manchester.
Callum, the curse of entrepreneurship struck you young and you took it through university and you spotted a gap in the market. And I admire the tenacity that you would have had so young to set these events up. Take us through some of those highs and lows of being a young entrepreneur. You are young. It was 2025. What are you, maybe 30 tops?
Yeah, 30.
You've done a lot in a short period of time. Take us through some of those highs and lows.
So a high for me was actually 2020 during COVID. Start of the year, COVID came out and there were restrictions. I then couldn't host my boxing events. So I had to process a lot of refunds.
How did you do that? How did you cash flow that? I presume the money spent. You're pre-booking venues, you're paying for...
Yeah, I pre-booked some training. So there was maybe a couple of grand lost there. And then I had to refund everyone's money. But in terms of venues, I believe I didn't pay for it. Right. However, I managed to make up a little bit of that money doing a student storage business that I'd done previously.
A student storage business?
Yes, this was just a small hustle that I did in university for a couple of years with another business partner. Basically, there are students in Edinburgh who will need to go back home during summer, whether that's down south or abroad. They'll need somewhere to put their duvets, pillows, all their stuff that they're not going to take back home. So we give them boxes, store the stuff in a warehouse, and then give it back to them when they come back in September.
Genius.
So thankfully, I was very quick on that. As soon as I heard that, I had 1 or 2 emails from previous customers saying, hey, I'm going back home now. This is the middle of March. The next morning, I got a couple of thousand flyers printed, just put them all over Edinburgh.
Does this exist, this student storage business?
I don't do it anymore.
Yeah. Interesting market.
Yeah.
It must exist, surely.
Oh yeah, it still exists. There's a few operators across the UK that still do it. So
but self-storage is expensive.
Yes.
It's really expensive. And so if you're a student, you're very price conscious.
Absolutely, yeah. And then it's a bit of a hassle as well, because if you go to a self-storage unit, you're going to have to, if you don't have a car, which typically you won't at uni, you'll have to get a taxi or hire a van, take it down to the self-storage unit. Whereas the service we provided was,
you collect it.
We come drop off boxes for you.
Yeah.
Pack your stuff. We take it. It's all pretty hassle-free.
That's neat.
So thankfully, I managed to keep myself afloat by doing that quickly to make up for the losses from Fight Night. But the bigger high from 2020 was in May time. I noted something popped up on social media. I believe it was in Eastern Europe, and someone was hosting a drive-in cinema at an airport, and I thought, that is genius. That is, let's try and give that a bash. And yeah, the Glasgow airport car parks were completely empty.
Of course. Yeah.
I went down to them, managed to speak to someone, and he was the most relaxed guy ever. He said, that's fine, son. How much do you want it for? I was like, I don't know, like 100 quid a day or something like that. I said, of course. Well, it's not getting used. So on you go, which is like dirt cheap for hiring such a massive space.
You are going to take a car park at Glasgow airport.
Yes.
And you're going to operate a drive-in cinema.
Correct.
During the pandemic.
Correct.
Which, of course, at that time was allowed.
Yes, that was allowed.
Out of your car.
It was allowed from around the 17th or 18th of July.
We were in bubbles, right?
We were in bubbles, and then it was around mid-July that they opened stuff up again from there. So what I did was, and I think this is a good lesson to anyone else considering an entrepreneurial journey, is always test the waters for as cheaply and quickly as possible. So what I did was I made a Facebook page This is when Facebook was still popular and people were still on it. And I made a Facebook page and event. It was just called the Drive-In Cinema. Made an event, the Drive-In Cinema at Glasgow Airport. I shared it in all these local pages and then had loads of people attending or clicked going on this event. So there's maybe like 3,000 to 5,000. So I thought, right, okay, I've got a market, I've got an audience. Put an email link there to like get an email list. So once you've already got your audience, and I've done this with £0 as well. So I've not
You've
spent
audience
anything.
tested it, yeah.
Audience tested it, only spent a few hours doing it. And then thought, right, okay, this is a goer now, because I spoke to a supplier for screens and I asked them to do like 21 nights. And I think it was like an average of maybe 2 to 3 grand a night. So if that's like 30 grand, that's a lot of money to be fronting up.
Yeah.
You don't want to be putting up that chunk of money.
How big a screen is this? I mean,
it was massive. It was like 40 foot. So yeah, very big. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. So you're like 25 years old building drive-in cinemas at Glasgow Airport.
Yeah. We
During the pandemic.
we did a Scottish tour in summer. So 21 night Scotland tour in summer, and then did a full UK tour for Christmas. It was intense. I'm pretty sure I was working every day from the start of September up until the 21st of December. So it was all the marketing and ops in September, October, November. And then I was on the road for a month from about the 18th of November.
The screen would pop up in car parks, wherever it was.
Exactly, all across the UK.
How did you choose your locations?
The most populous UK locations that had somewhere that had a car park available. We used quite a lot of racecourse car parks. They were quite handy. I think it was the Jockey Club. Shout out to the Jockey Club, because they were brilliant. They're just like, they were, use this racecourse, use that racecourse. They've got really big car parks. Did it all the way from Inverness to Exeter.
Wow,
so
what an experience.
It was me, 2 friends in a van, and then we had a security van. And then we had the third van, which was the guys with the screen. And then we had a 4th van, which was like a food truck. Mm-hmm. So it really was like a traveling circus.
Could you get out of your car and go, are they this point? Or was it?
You could go to the toilet. You could go to the toilet, and I think you could maybe go to the burger van. Yeah, you could go to the burger van as well.
And what happened with this business? Because this just sounds like genius.
It had a lot of wind in its sails. People were really scared during COVID. They didn't want to go inside anywhere. You had that crowd. You had a lot of businesses were closed. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was kind of like the only thing to do at points. People wanted to take their kids on a Christmas night out, or them and their partner go on a Christmas night out. The government reduced VAT to 5% rather than usual 20%.
So all that was going on.
I know. Meta ads were really cheap at this point. It wasn't until the following year that Apple put an update on their devices.
They killed the attribution.
It did, yeah. So I had all this wind in my sails. Everything was going grand. And then, came home at Christmas thinking,
happy days.
What happy days. Well done. Yeah.
Wow. And then the laws changed.
It all changed, yeah. It's like COVID was a blessing for me. If only it stayed on for a little bit longer.
I've heard 3 brilliant business ideas, ventures, concepts, things that you've actually done, delivered, and been successful in. You know, you talk a lot about give this a go, but actually the drive-in cinema concept was a real success. And the factors that ended that were out of your control. Student self-storage, brilliant concept. I'm sure someone's doing that very well in the market right now. And thirdly, of course, your bread and butter, fight nights. How do you as an entrepreneur not get distracted by the next bright, shiny thing?
I have been distracted by some other ideas and projects in the past, but with those 3, what I do is I don't try and reinvent the wheel. I look at stuff that's working. For example, the fight night, I did that in Edinburgh. There was a promotion happening at the time. Realized that there wasn't one in Glasgow. Thought, right, if it can work in Edinburgh, then it can work in Glasgow. The same with drive-in cinema. If that can happen in Eastern Europe, then it can happen in the UK as well. And the same goes for student storage.
And what's next for you?
So, like I said, I don't try and reinvent the wheel. I came across a lecture event series in New York, and I thought that's awesome.
When you were in New York?
I wasn't actually in New York at the time, but I was going to New York in a couple of weeks' time. I then went to the event. It was awesome, and it made me think I would love to go to that if it was in London. Looked it up online. I couldn't find anything similar, and I thought, I've got time, energy to give this a bash right now.
Yeah, in between fight nights, right?
In between fight nights, because fight nights is a seasonal business.
Yeah.
It runs from around August, September until the end of March. So I've got this period between April and August.
Tell us about Pints of Knowledge and what is the format of a Pints of Knowledge night?
Pints of Knowledge is a public speaking event where we invite lecturers, professors, Olympians, anyone who has a story to tell. And it's kind of like the easiest way to describe it is TED Talks, but in London pubs.
Brilliant. Absolutely genius.
Yeah.
When is the first Pints of Knowledge event? Have we missed one?
The first one was on the 16th of June, and the next one is tomorrow night. We have an Olympian coming in to the Sun in Clapham, and she's going to be chatting about her story from when she was around 14 years old all the way up until when she competed at the Tokyo Olympics last year.
How do you select the perfect guest speaker? What does the typical format of a night look like? And why London? Can this thing go across the country?
Initially, we went onto the London University websites, looked at the directories, and then emailed a ton of people. Anyone who got back to us and had an interesting lecture to give, we selected them. The format of the night, people come around 7 p.m., they grab a drink or something to eat at bar, head upstairs or wherever the area is, and we have an icebreaker. We have an introduction and icebreaker by the host around 7:25. And then, because the ethos and the brand of Pints of Knowledge, we want to connect people and we want to open up discussions of big, thought-provoking questions.
Mm-hmm.
Then at 7:30, the lecture starts for between 30 and 40 minutes. And then the lecturer hosts a Q&A for about 10, 15 minutes afterwards.
And how do you select that perfect guest speaker?
Yeah, something interesting, a good story, and if they've got previous experience in public speaking.
Right.
Previously, we've had a lot of university lecturers and professors chatting about psychology or AI, but we're looking to kind of expand into more pop culture things, maybe about dating advice or some other silly things like how to start a cult, or just
broaden it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite boffiny at the start then.
Yes.
But that has a massive following, right? So,
absolutely.
how do you approach guest speakers? How do you get in touch with these? Are you trawling Instagram? What is that? Are people coming to you? How does it work?
We started off in May, June time by emailing university lecturers in London. And since then, because we've built up a following and we're getting eyeballs on the page, we've put a link on our page saying, if you want to be a guest speaker, simply just fill out this form. So we've now got people coming to us wanting to become guest speakers. We have the kind of university lecturer crowd who we've had previously. And at the event, I usually stick around afterwards and I'm chatting to other people. And the people that come and attend these events are very smart as well. And I'm amazed every time because everyone asks such detailed questions. A lot of them want to get involved. So that's actually how we've also got speakers as well.
And what's where can we find you? What's the website? What's the Instagram tag?
The website is pintsofknowledge.co.uk, but it's best to follow us on our Instagram page, which is at Pints of Knowledge. And you can also sign up to our mailing list and get discounts on tickets.
Callum, you've got 4 fight nights coming up at the end of 2025. Where are they? When are they? And how do we find out about them? How do we get involved?
They are happening in Bristol, Manchester, Glasgow, Edinburgh. You can find out about it at Bristol Student Fight Night, at Manchester Fight Night, at Glasgow Fight Night, etc. Might be tough to get tickets. They regularly sell out in just a couple of minutes. But if you'd like to see some brawls between students, and I would say that the boxing quality is not the greatest you'll ever see.
You're not going there for quality boxing. You're going there for...
The atmosphere is unrivaled.
It's charitable, right?
It is not charitable. However, we do raise money on the night for charities. Yeah. We host charity raffles.
Right.
Yeah.
So right now there's 160 white collar fighters in gyms in Bristol, Manchester, Edinburgh, Glasgow, putting everything on the line, training for an event at the end of November.
Correct.
It's amazing. That must keep you incredibly busy, as well as Pints of Knowledge as well, which I can imagine is taking quite a lot of your energy right now.
Yes, I have.
Feel it.
I've got 100 tabs open in my brain right now.
I'm sure.
I'm quite busy. Yeah, September's a busy time for me.
Callum, it's great having you in Foundry Wandsworth. This is still pretty much brand new scheme for us. And it's amazing for me to see how quickly this location's ramped up, filled up with incredible members from all different backgrounds, all different segments of the community, business sectors. And it's amazing for me to see how a lot of the members are working with each other so quickly. The team here have done a brilliant job cultivating community. There are a lot of pints. Having a 25-meter outdoor Lido here, access to that is a real plus, yes, in the summer. Great pubs like the Alma and the Ship on our doorstep. But it's all about the members. We've built, I think, a fantastic location, but the members that are the magic. And I'm glad that you're part of that. Has Foundry added value since you've been here?
100%, all aspects of my life, really. I've got great access to that gym and the Lido. But more importantly, I have made new business connections here. And I've also met speakers for Pints of Knowledge via the Foundry,
Brilliant.
Which has been excellent.
Callum, it's been really interesting chatting to you. I'm delighted that you choose Foundry Wandsworth as your base in London. I am in awe of your ability to spot gaps in the market. You know, you're still young and you've done so much and you've had real success. Like all of us, there's been tough times, but you've bounced back quickly. You failed fast and you failed forward. And again, I admire that. I think for me, Pints of Knowledge is absolutely genius. And I look forward to attending an event with our team. And I wish you all the best with that. And I want to wish you all the best with fight nights, your series of fight nights in Manchester, Birmingham, Bristol, sorry. I should remember that, shouldn't I? I am Bristolian. Edinburgh and Glasgow in November this year. So all the best with that. And we look forward to following your journey on the cities you go to next. We need to introduce you to some of the wider Foundry network. There's lots of really interesting people out there in other Foundry locations that I'm sure would love to do business with you. So we'll get onto that. But again, thanks from all of us. We'd really appreciate your time and telling your story on Work This Way. Thank you, mate.
Awesome. Appreciate the kind words and thank you for having me. Thanks, Adam.
You're a star. Pints of Knowledge, listen up, Londoners, all Foundry members across the country. If you have an interesting story to tell, get in touch with Callum. Thanks for joining us this week on Work This Way.